our challenges, our things that make us, the things that we are probably might want to hide from the world, can be the very things that actually connect us more deeply to our humanity and can be the gifts that we have to offer an audience as performers.
Filmmaker Magazine presents Back to One with Peter Rinaldi.
Ben Mehl is an actor. He sat down with me on the Upper West Side of Manhattan to talk about the work.
Do you have a typical way that you like to begin your preparation process when you get a new character?
It's really different every time, although the one thing that is the same is just reading it. Just reading it and trying to be objective as I can without starting, and I usually fail at this, but without trying to start fiddling around with the lines and seeing like, oh, this is fun. And then seeing how I might do this. I really try to just understand what it is and form questions and not jump to conclusions for as long as I can.
In your mind, is there some real reason why you're preventing yourself from making any kind of like approaches toward performance yet?
Because I'm always tempted to make things what I think is going to be interesting. And I'm tempted to start performing, and immediately I'm going to start making assumptions that may not be accurate, and I'm going to start to fall into this trap of feeling like I have to make it interesting before I even understand what it is. I had an amazing acting teacher, Ron Van Loo. He talked about when you're approaching a character, you want to let it's like raising a baby. You can't just demand that the baby start walking right away. You have to let it develop and nurture it and let it grow, see how it grows. And then as I'm saying that, at the same time, it's also really important for me to give myself permission to take risks with it and not feel like, oh, I have to be so precious about it and keep myself kind of back-footed. I also do want to go and try things out and see, risk failing with it. Yeah,
that's really important, right? Risking failure and not being afraid of that.
Yeah.
So huge.
Absolutely.
Where were you in your growth when you worked with Ron Van Loo? Like, was this early?
No, actually, I was disappointed that I didn't get to work with him when I went to grad school, and then subsequently, I worked with him as an assistant director to him. Actually, the first time that I met him was my audition for Yale. And I don't even know if he remembers this, but I did a great audition and I got an initial callback. We sat down and it was an interview, and it was one of the first interviews that I had ever really done in that way. And I was so nervous, like my palms were sweaty and I felt so insecure about myself, even though I had gone and done my work. I felt great about my work as an actor, but then just talking about myself, I felt so insecure, and I felt like I had to kind of pretend to be someone that I wasn't and worthy enough to be thought of. And so he mentioned some of the people in the program, and he mentioned Paula Vogel was a teacher, and he was like, "Do you know who that is?" And I was like, "Oh, I can't say that I have no idea who that is." And so I was like, I've heard of him. Paula Vogel is not a him. And then we've worked together since a few times.
And he probably doesn't remember that, right?
I mean, even if he did, it's like, in hindsight, it's such a human moment. And I learned so much from that. It's like, I never want to be so insincere with myself that I feel like I have to lie or pretend to know things that I don't know. What I'm really interested in is being more and more honest in my work and in my life. It's when I start to veer away from that, it's like there's I don't know. It's like when your car starts to go over the line and that starts beeping at you. It's like, oh, careful, Ben. Where are you going?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And I wonder if, I've never really talked about this, but I wonder if there is something to be said about thinking of the truth in your own life as an almost kind of a fuel for this work. Being a truthful person. You know what I mean? And letting that actually help you when you do the work. I think there's something to that.
I do think there is something to that. I think you have to be able to confront your own humanity and really, I don't know, there's so many words for it, but your own soul, in order to bring that truth into your work. If you can't do that with yourself, I don't really know how you can bring your humanity into a character.
Yeah.
Who was it? Who played Snape in Harry Potter?
Alan Rickman.
Thank you, Alan Rickman. He talked about how important it is to bring your own sense of vulnerability to your work. And his approach to playing a character was to always search for what is the thing that makes this person insecure? What is the kind of deficit that this person might feel? This person's vulnerability. So that you can really get at the soft heart, the soft center of a character.
Yeah.
And that might help you figure out what motivates them to do the things that they do.
So you went to NYU.
I did go to NYU.
What was that like for you?
That was 3 of the most wonderful years of my life. What brought me there was I was finishing my undergraduate degree. I was double majoring in drama and astrophysics at the University of Toronto. And in my last year, I began to lose my vision. I didn't know, it felt like my whole plan, my whole expectation of what my life might become was being directly challenged. And I just didn't know what this was going to mean for me anymore. So I took some time to reassess and figure out how I might want to move forward. I didn't feel like acting was necessarily possible for me anymore. It had been this love that I was never willing to let go of since I'm an early age. But now I couldn't read my scripts and I couldn't see the expression in my scene partner's face, and I couldn't mingle in a crowded party and recognize people's faces. There were just so many things that I was like, this feels so unattainable now. As unattainable as it can always feel.
Right.
It felt like now this is really impossible. I don't know what this means. And there were a few events that really prompted me to make this choice, but at some point I decided, no, I'm not going to let this stop me from pursuing what my heart wants. And that's what brought me to NYU. I auditioned for a few schools. Well, Yale was one of them. I did not get into Yale. I did get into Juilliard and NYU, and I chose to go to NYU. And my reason for going was to figure out what it meant to be an actor with this disability, being visually impaired. How I could adapt and to have the space and time to figure that out for myself. What tools could I get for myself? How do I blow up my script? How do I learn to, I don't know, feel my way around a scene even if I'm not able to see everything? And is it possible? So that was what I was doing when I went to NYU. And I did learn these skills, and I picked up so many things that encouraged me to keep going. And I mean, there's one there's one thing that really stands out to me that I share with my students. Richard Feldman, one of my favorite teachers, I was doing a scene from Brian Friel's Translations, where me and my scene partner were on opposite sides of the stage, and we were talking to each other in different languages, but it was just the human connection between these two characters where they can understand exactly what the other person means, even though they're not understanding literally what they're saying. And they're forming this romantic connection together. And I was facing that fear of, I can't see my scene partner's face, and all the information is there. So how can I possibly act out this scene authentically?
Wow.
And Richard said, you have to trust that what you can see and what you can sense and feel is enough. That everybody sees the world differently. And there's always a reason, even if it's such a compelling reason as what I have, to doubt that what you're seeing is enough and what you're perceiving is enough. You have to trust whatever information you're getting, you go off of that. And I've carried that with me ever since that day, that is something that I can trust. And I now go forward with that in everything that I do, that it's enough. What I have to offer is enough. And to be honest, it's not always easy, but when I'm in touch with myself and I'm able to remember these things, then that's what carries me forward.
This is so huge. It's so huge because everybody has some struggle in this, but I can't imagine what you had to do to be able to get there and to hear that and let that fuel you. First of all, when you get this thing happening to you, you don't know what's happening, right? I mean, it's like your life is changing.
Yeah.
And like you said, this is such a hard endeavor when everybody has their full capacity. It's so hard. And now you're adding such an incredibly hard thing to this. But you chose to face it. I can't tell you how inspiring that is. Being able to hear that, being able to be, and fully realizing you are enough. What you can, quote, see or sense is enough right there with the other person. Huge. But were you, at this time or soon, able to realize, I may be impaired here, but there's a sense that is rising up that I didn't have before, that I'm able to use in scenes?
I loved the craft of acting from a young age. And this challenge came up in the middle of my development and my journey. It didn't negate that love and that, truthfully, a deep sense of trust in myself and my ability. So I was able to kind of, I don't know that this, the name of my disease is called Stargardt's disease. I don't know that the Stargardt's, I don't think I had a sense of the Stargardt's helping me. I still felt that it was a challenge to overcome and to reconnect with that deeper sense of trust in myself. And that despite this, I can still be enough. I think it was really later that it was kind of revealed to me that this actually is also a part of me and something that actually is now informing me as an actor and is adding to what I have to offer and to my understanding of life and loss and the things that connect us to what it is to be human. So yeah, I don't know. You know, there's this kind of idea that losing one sense gives you superpowers with other senses, and I don't know if that's entirely. I mean, it's not true. I think there is some truth to it, but what I really feel like the superpower it gives me, if I'm awake to it and if I allow myself to be quiet with it, is the connection to the more universal struggle of what it is to be a human being, and what it is to have loss and to have vulnerability.
And you know, I really do believe that every one of us that tries to do this crazy thing called acting has something that they have to overcome, whether it's something in their past, or as simple as tension, you know, or of course impairments of various degrees. But I feel like what you're talking about that's so important here is that, and I don't know of a lot of other endeavors where this is true. If you accept what is going on with you, you can use it in the scene.
Yes, it can become a gift.
It can become a gift.
That's the very things.
It's an incredible thing to do, isn't it?
It's an incredible thing. And that's why acting can be so therapeutic.
Yes.
And I often say this with my students, that some of the things that we do in class, it can be very therapeutic, not to be mistaken for therapy.
Yeah.
But yes, there are our challenges, our things that make us, the things that we are probably might want to hide from the world, can be the very things that actually connect us more deeply to our humanity and can be the gifts that we have to offer an audience as performers.
Beautifully put.
I had a teacher who when I first found out that I was losing my vision, it was like a year into it. I was taking some on-camera classes, and I was in a place of wrestling with this and not understanding what this was going to mean. And my first approach really was to just hide it and see if I can still pass.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, to see if
that would make sense, right?
Right. Yeah, and I like, after class one day, I kind of broached this subject that I was so scared to talk to people about, and I said, this is what I'm actually dealing with. And I don't know what I was hoping to hear. I guess I just wanted to be honest about what I was dealing with. And this is not a flattering story about this teacher, so I'm not going to name who that was.
Yeah.
But he told me that he would be careful about who I told that to. And I think it was coming from a place of concern and not wanting this to become something that would get in my way and limit my opportunities. And it was coming from a place of fear, really.
Yep.
And it was basically, the message was, hide that about yourself. And I don't know, there was something inside of me that just kind of, it was like that blinker on the car, like you're veering off course. Something went off for me that was like, no, I can't.
Oh, that's great. So you didn't take that with a lot of weight.
It hit me with a lot of weight. It made me scared, but it also gave me something to react away from.
Good.
That and this comes back to our initial conversation about honesty with yourself and honesty in your roles. I didn't know how I could possibly go forward in my life and hide myself. It's never been something that I'm interested in. I mean, I'm sure there are, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I can't do that.
Yeah.
My interest is the exact opposite. I want to be more honest and more authentic both with myself and in my roles. And so this became, it was not the approach I was going to take. And that was actually part of the impetus that what sent me looking to further my training and to figure out how am I actually going to carry this aspect of myself with me as I go forward as an artist.
So inspiring, man. But is there a time when you feel like it's appropriate to reveal what you're dealing with? Do you know what I mean? And is that time in an audition setting? Is that time, early on, or is you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're starting to like deal with that kind of question.
I mean, I've dealt with that question in so many ways. When I was interviewing with agencies, it was like, I had to think about that. It's that big question of like, do I hide it? Or do I lead with it?
Yeah.
Or do I kind of hide it at first and then let it come out in some natural way? I have consistently found that the more I can, because it's an invisible disability. I mean, I wear glasses. No one can see this on the podcast. I wear glasses. I don't look like I'm visually impaired, but I am. And so it's this invisible thing that I'm dealing with, and it just helps me and to bring that forward as soon as I can.
Yeah.
In all of my classes at NYFA, when I introduce myself, I lead with that because both it opens up a space where other students then can kind of talk about things that they might feel insecure about or vulnerable about, but also because it helps me for people to know that about me.
Yeah.
And to know that, listen, when you're working with me, this is something that comes with me. And it doesn't define me. It's not everything about me. It's just a kind of important thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a useful thing to know. When I started school, though, when I was at NYU, I didn't actually talk about it for quite a while. We did this project with another wonderful teacher, Janet Zarish. She did these things called universe projects, where you create a one-person show for the class about you. And you share about your life. And for many of my classmates, that was the first time that they ever realized or knew about this.
Wow. I mean, what's interesting too is that you then, I'm not sure if this was the first role that you got that was like this, but when you got to play Dante in You, you're playing a much more visually impaired character. And then you almost had to learn how to deal with that level of blindness, right?
Yeah. That was the first role that I had where I was playing someone who's blind. I mean, it was this interesting challenge because always, whatever role we play, we're talking about honesty and authenticity and truth. But then, of course, there's also a level of artifice. You're playing somebody who's not you. You're imagining circumstances that are different from your own. And then you're trying to bring your truth to that. So in this case, it was for the first time in my life where I was playing somebody who could see less than I can see, which is different from everything I had done before that, where I'm pretending to play somebody who can see more than I can actually see. And I trained. I had sessions with a orientation and mobility specialist so that I learned how to use a cane. And it was very personal for me because, this is a progressive disease and I don't know what it's going to mean later on in my life.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, this could be useful for me in my own life, what I'm learning right now. I don't use a cane in my life. I have my peripheral vision. I just have no central vision. So I'm not worried about bumping into things, although I have. But but so I got to learn a lot about what it actually would mean to have complete blindness, as Dante did. I did literally blindfold myself, and I walked around my like behind my building with a cane with a blindfold, so that I could get a sense in my body of what it felt like to have your world shrink down to the size of what you can hear and what you can feel as you're moving this cane side to side in front of you. And that was really, really profound for me. I learned a lot. And then I also observed, which is hard for someone who can't see very much, but I observed other people who use canes just in the city. And the main thing that I observed watching people and kind of following people around was the ease and the confidence that people have when you get, it's amazing how we can adapt. Mm-hmm. So when I ultimately played Dante, that's what I wanted to bring to it, was that and counterintuitively, the vision that I do have allowed me to play somebody who was that confident using a cane and moving around.
Yeah.
Because me as the actor, I didn't have a lifetime of experience using it.
Right.
But I was able to use my peripheral vision to help me with that.
So you has been my guilty pleasure show. I mean, and I really mean that in the true sense of the word, because I think it's absolutely preposterous and I can't get enough of it. I'm so sad that it ended. I mean, I pride myself on being a true snob. Most shows are not worthy for my viewing, you know. Then this show comes along and I'm like, as it gets more crazy, season by season, I was loving it more and more. I mean, it really was like operating for me as a viewer in a whole other part of my brain. Whereas like it was like a dopamine hit of like in a whole other way than everything else I watch. You know, and I think Penn's performance is absolutely incredible. I mean, it's the narration itself is worthy of like studying, I think. Like what he has to do with that narration, with his facial expressions, that he knows the narration's going to be over.
Yes. well, the way that they do that is he has a separate actor who is reading his lines.
No
who he's
way.
Worked with the whole time, who is saying his lines so that he can hear what he's thinking as he's acting.
I did not know
And then
that.
he obviously records them afterwards.
Wow, that is fascinating.
Yeah.
See, if Penn ever came on this freaking show, I would have been able to ask him that. All right, I'm bitter. But I remember loving you. This is season 3. I remember loving you, man, on this show. Thanks. I really, really took note of you. But what was that like going in there on the 3rd season? I don't think you'd been on multiple episodes of something at that time, right?
No, that was a huge opportunity for me. A big step into an unfamiliar world for me.
Right.
The first thing that I did, when I found out that I got that gig, there's just so much to tell about this. But when I found out, I was like, I had young twin daughters and I was bathing them in the tub. And I got this call and I answered. I was like, hello. And it was my agent. And he told me that I got this part and I was just so over the moon, and I have to take care of these little kids. And I'm like, I can't talk about this. I have to call you back. I went back to my responsibilities and then called back when I could.
That's funny.
But I had to step into this. I mean, it was already the 1 show on Netflix when it was, every time it dropped, and I was stepping into this, and I deal with my own insecurities. I think it's common, and it's not something that everybody talks about, but boy, it's really easy to feel insecure about oneself, I think. And to have this kind of big thing that I have to step into, I didn't quite know what to do, but I had this fundamental belief in myself. And I called on a mentor of mine, a former teacher, David Costable, who's an amazing actor and an incredible teacher. And I asked him for just advice, and his main advice to me was just be as Ben Mehl as you can be. Go, and you were cast for a reason. trust that. Go in there, listen, learn, and be yourself. Go and bring what you bring to it. Mm-hmm. And so I went in there with these really much more experienced actors who've had, big players. And I trusted myself that I was what was needed for that part of the story.
Yes.
And I had a great time. I mean, and everybody was really lovely to work with. Penn was amazing to work with.
And that's you got the role. So it's like, it's time to let imposter syndrome go at that moment, right?
That's right.
I mean? It's like you got cast.
Yeah, that's right.
They want you.
Yeah. It's such a funny thing, because when there are those moments of success in a career as an actor, it's like, I wish that the external validation didn't mean as much as it does.
Yeah.
But it does.
Yeah.
It means a lot. Anytime I've gotten like a great review, I'm like, oh, thank God someone else thinks this.
Yeah.
And it's a really annoying thing, because you have to believe in yourself. Like, it's all so subjective. You've got to trust the work that you're doing. And I know when I'm not, I don't know, maybe I haven't prepared it in a way that I wish I had, or I just wasn't feeling it on a certain day. I know when I'm not happy with my own work. And I know when I am happy with my work. I tend to be dissatisfied with my work all the time, but I know when I'm like, really, I wish I could do that again. But it's just a different thing when it's coming from someone else. And it's just the thing about acting. Yeah. It's always for someone else. Yeah. You're not an actor if you're just home alone acting for yourself.
Right.
It really is.
It has to land, right? Yeah. It has to land. It's just like an acknowledgement that it has landed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sometimes all you need.
That's right.
Is that.
That's right. If you're on stage and you hear the ha ha ha.
Yeah.
From the audience, it's like, yeah. Right. Okay. Great. And I mean, when I'm in class with my students, it's the same thing. Right. That's how you learn, is like you actually go and see, you're up there and you're seeing what's landing and what's not.
Yeah.
What's working, what's resonating, and what's not.
Yeah.
And just be honest about it so that you can get a better get better barometer for that craft.
Right. When did you start teaching?
After I graduated, I'd been doing theater and some film, and discovering, once I'm outside of the bubble of a training program, rediscovering really what the life of an actor really is. That sometimes I'm filming a feature all day and then I'm going to Central Park to do Shakespeare in the Park in the evening, and I'm exhausted and I have no energy left. And then there are times where I've got nothing and no one's calling and I'm alone and I'm depressed and I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And it just goes between those. It's that feast and famine thing. And so I was looking for, what can I do to keep myself engaged in this thing that I genuinely love to do? What are other ways that I can keep this alive in myself? And I started teaching. The first place that I taught was at the Public Theater. They had a Midsummer Days camp, it was called. And I was teaching high school kids Shakespeare, and like everything that I was learning, that I had learned from grad school, I was trying to pass on to these high school kids.
Was that rewarding, or did it make you want to kill yourself?
Both. And sometimes it's really, really rewarding when you connect with somebody, or somebody's like giving something that is like, wow, you've got that thing too. You're connecting to that truth. You're being generous with it. That's really fueling.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's it's just not
kids.
Yeah. But it can be like that in a show too. When you're doing a show for a while, it's like, oh, how do I keep bringing myself to this after it starts to get tedious?
Yeah.
And that is like, I think the actor's mindset's got to always be that you're in progress, you're in process.
Yes.
Always. It's never ending. There's no place that you get to and then you're done.
I think there's some kind of beautiful thing about when actors are working and they are teaching at the same time. I mean, maybe not literally at the same time, but you know what I mean, in the same time frame in their life. Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, this is what I would do if I was able to do this, but you know, I would treat the classroom as almost like a workshop or a laboratory, and then the results that I find there, I put them into my work. Is that what you were doing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. I try. You know, the way that I approach teaching is that I have nothing to teach.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What I have are some things some ways that I can create opportunities for learning to happen, for you to go and explore and take risks and see if you might stumble upon some interesting discoveries for yourself. But there's very little that I can do. I can't. It's not like I'm not lecturing. I'm not teaching you facts.
Yeah.
I might have a few inspirations that I can share with you to pass along, but it's really just about creating a space where you can learn for yourself.
Yeah.
And explore.
Right.
I mean, I did this movie with actress Amber Marshall, who she's been acting on this show Heartland ever since she was a teenager, and she never went to any kind of training program. She never went to any acting school. She just learned by doing it, and I'm like, that's fantastic. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
If you're lucky enough to have that kind of an opportunity where you can just learn by doing it. And to learn from the people around you who have been doing it for longer than you. And if you can't get paid for it, then you kind of have to pay for it.
Yeah.
But I think that's what school really should.
Was that the Hallmark film?
Yeah.
What's that called?
My Christmas Guide.
When I saw the trailer for that, I was like, oh man, he's so lucky. I have some kind of a fascination also with Christmas Hallmark movies.
Another guilty pleasure.
I gotta see that one. I haven't seen that. But I mean, was that an entirely different kind of operation going on there in terms of that production?
Entirely different.
Wow.
And it was good that the director, when I talked to Max McGuire, he was like, so I know you've kind of got the Netflix experience and that whole world. It's like, don't expect that.
What was
prepared.
No time?
Like maybe you've been able to do like 3-4 takes at a time. Like this is going to be quick and dirty, so be prepared. Everything was on location. We were in Newfoundland filming in this freezing cold. And it was just like
one take
fast. You just gotta move fast. Yeah, and that, I mean, I loved that. I really, it was an amazing learning experience for me.
I bet. I mean, you have to adapt, right? An actor has to adapt.
That's right. I mean, I feel so lucky that I've gotten to do so many varied things, and that was honestly always my dream. That I didn't really want to. There's that question of like, what's your dream role? I have never ever had that. What I'm in it for is the varied experience. I'm on this adventure of, I don't know. I one of my favorite things that I did was this show called Habit, where they built this one-story house inside the Essex Street Market, and me and 2 other actors lived in this house for 8 hours a day, and we did our business in the bathroom. You could have the shower curtain open or closed, depending on how voyeuristic you wanted to allow the audience to be. And we did this like 1 hour play on loop, and the blocking changed. We cooked meals, and it was thrilling to be able to do this kind of experimental stuff. I've done a bunch of different things, and I hope I get to keep on playing this way.
Yeah. Do you have a particular primary love? Like some actors love the stage, and they're just doing this work in front of a camera to pay the bills, but they would love to be on the stage and keep doing it. You've done a lot of stage work. Yeah. Do you have that kind of feeling?
I really love both. I think that they are very different mediums, but truth as an actor is truth that is the same. On the one hand, you have to have an understanding of how to play to an audience. It depends. Even sometimes you're doing a play where there is an absolute fourth wall, and it might as well be on camera. But I've had a lot of experience where the fourth wall is more porous and you can play. And I mean, I've done a lot of comedies and I'm absolutely playing for laughs, and that's part of what the goal is. And then when you're on camera, there is no audience. You're just living truthfully through a character's experience and allowing that to be seen. But there is you can't play for an audience. There can't be any sense of performance about it.
Yeah.
But then there's, actually the same teacher, Richard Feldman, he would talk about the size of truth. What is the size of truth?
That's interesting.
You can have a big, broad sense of truth, and you can have a really distilled, small sense of truth. Yeah. And they can both be true.
Right. That's interesting. That's an interesting way of putting it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people think like if it's too big, it's not truthful. But you can just blow up the size of your truth.
And that is something that comes up a lot. Where with my students, I'll see that there's this idea that everything's got to be small, and there's some truth to that.
Right.
But you can also. It's also really important to be able to let yourself be big and have that physical and vocal freedom to be able to take up space in a large way so that you don't feel restrained. And then things can settle in you in a different way. I don't know. You got to be able to take risks in both directions.
Right. Ben Mehl, thank you so much.
This was such a pleasure, Peter. Thank you.
Back to One is a production of Filmmaker Magazine, which is a publication of The Gotham. Listen to back episodes of this podcast at filmmakermagazine.com or wherever you get your podcasts.